Welcome back. Tata Salt has launched its 360-degree Har Sawal Uthega campaign for Republic Day. Through the campaign, the company aims to empower children by providing them with a one-of-its-kind platform to raise questions that could spark relevant conversations. To tell us more about this and TCPL's future growth plans for salt portfolio, how is the company dealing with general uncertainty and volatility, we are joined in by Deepika Bhan, President, Packaged Foods India, Tata Consumer Products. Listen in.
You have launched a campaign around Republic Day, which is asking children to ask pertinent questions. So it's Har Sawal Uthega campaign. Tell us more about it, the genesis behind the campaign and the thought behind it.
Yeah, I would love to. So look, the thought behind the campaign is really the belief that large, loved brands, they really ought to use their voice, their currency to make a difference, right? To stand for more. I've also seen over time that brands which can do this authentically, actually it builds greater brands and it builds distinctiveness and affinity. So it's a really win-win model. Now, when you look at Tata Salt, over the years, consumers have really trusted this to be Desh Ka Namak. And so with that comes the opportunity to use our voice for something bigger. So, with Republic Day, we just sort of thought about what is it that we can ask, how can we get the world to stop, pause and question a bit where we are headed. And that's really the genesis of the campaign. Now, the question was, if you want to offer a bit of a thought moment, what's the best stimulus? And after a lot of different ways to do this, we netted out that one of the best ways is actually, bringing the kid's voice, because frequently what we are not willing to accept otherwise we will when a child asks the question, and that's the genesis of Desh Ke Liye Har Sawal Uthega, which is to really surface kids' questions.
Okay, Deepika, since we are speaking, right at the start of the year, I wanted to understand what is the larger vision for your salt portfolio for the year? Like, what is it that you have in the pipeline? What do we expect?
So I think we're doing a big kickstart to the year with this campaign. We're very, very excited about what this campaign can do. So we are I think 5 to 7 days into the campaign now. We are at about 37,500 questions already. And I am just amazed. I'm telling you, I'm amazed by the kind of questions kids are asking.
What were the kind of questions, if you can?
Like, I'll tell you, my top questions have really been around. Maybe I'm a mother, so I'll always be more biased. But why is my name not my mother and father's full name, but only my father's name? There's lots of question around the simplicity of separating garbage and why are people not doing something that's so simple. There's a lot of questions around climate change. So the sheer awareness, and the change that kids are willing to imagine. That famous David Brower saying, right, that you don't inherit the earth from your ancestors, you actually borrow it from your children. And if this is what our children are asking, I actually, in this whole pathos of where are we heading, I was left very inspired that our future is bright, if this is what they can imagine. So I think back to your question, I think the big thing is we're kicking off the year with, I think, the biggest, most ambitious campaign on Tata Salt. And that just marks our belief in the fact that we're going to grow our core salt portfolio. But beyond salt, like you were referring to our last conversation, beyond core salt, we have really innovated in salt. So it's in very few FMCG categories, Shivani, that you would see that literally one single product defines the category, which is the status of salt. So I think there's just a lot of opportunity to innovate around salt. And you saw us do things like immuno, we're launching vitamin D, we've got a rock salt. So innovation and premiumization around salt. But I think if I step back, our story is not salt. Our story is the portfolio of foods that we're building, and so actually I'm very excited about the growth that we're getting and building on brands like Tata Sampann, the new forays that we are doing within Tata Sampann on categories like dry fruit, which, weren't there earlier, as well as the newer brands that we have launched like Simply Better and GoFit. So I think the idea is to use a portfolio approach to really get the max growth we can out of the, generally the food space.
Yeah. And what is your outlook for the year, considering that 2022 hasn't been easy, especially, for your business?
Yeah, not at all. I think for no business, to be honest, has it been easy. That being said, I'm definitely more optimistic. I do think that I mean, I don't think one can say that there won't be inflation, but I think that the worst is behind us. So I would still stay cautiously optimistic. And also, I think we're privileged, Shivani, because we are playing in categories which are more essential. And to that extent, we have the ability to make a persuasive case and keep our demand still strengthening. We reported very good volume growth even last quarter. So I would still stay optimistic. I think the job for marketers increases in these times, right? Because you got to get a higher share of mind.
Yeah, yeah. So we are also getting a mixed feedback from different sectors and the market. How is the company in general dealing with this entire volatility and uncertainty that lies ahead?
I think it's what you do when you're running, a tight P&L line. So you just look at all lines of cost, and we try and ensure that we are able to manage, benefits around cost more and more. We spend where we need to and generate the right forward demand. So it's really about playing all lines of the P&L. But I would say organizationally, we continue to remain positive.
So any particular area that you're focusing on, something that you're playing with? Also, many experts are saying that in general, the inflation is cooling off. So
Yeah.
your reactions to that?
I think that our focus is shifting a lot more towards volume growth.
Hmm.
So I would say that I would look a lot, and you should in any given year, but I think this year even more so, we want to focus very hard on just getting more consumers into the franchise, building up penetrations.
Hmm.
And that's another reason why we have this campaign as well. So I think that if we continue to build penetration and we start looking at quarterly and monthly penetrations on our brands, there is an immense opportunity. That's what we'll be focused on this year.
And what are the demand trends, Deepika?
I think that it is, I would say, same. We saw rural softening. I think that that pressure may continue for a bit. But overall, I feel demand this year is a bit stronger. And I think the second thing is also that specifically when we're talking out of wellness, health, we are getting greater response. So, for example, on Tata Salt, we've launched Immuno, which is a variant which is zinc fortified and helps immunity.
Hmm.
We are clearly seeing greater acceptance and proclivity to buy that. So I think we've got to be choiceful in what we play. Rock Salt is another business which is again slightly more health oriented, which is seeing greater acceptance. So I think that there is, definitely greater proclivity to buy out of health and wellness. That's a clear demand trend.
Also, the premium products are doing well.
These are premium. Yeah, these are
Yeah,
premium as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't say that it is necessarily that premium is doing better than core,
Hmm.
because I do think it's a year of core and core above all first, which is the core Tata Salt. But there is an opportunity to grow premium. Look, India is so large. There's enough growth opportunity as long as you can position it right.
So, which brands in particular do you think will fuel growth for the company in this year?
I think Tata Sampann is going to be the leader as far as growth is concerned.
Hmm.
So just by virtue of the number of categories that we play in, the sheer opportunity that we have to build penetration on that brand, that I think is a really large delta driver. And of course, Tata Salt.
And also, is that also because, in general, like the preference of a packaged branded essential has increased owing to the pandemic, the safety issues related, the hygiene issues around the pandemic? Is that
Yeah.
the reason for that?
I think that in general, if you look at penetration across packaged food, it is low than a lot of other FMCG categories. So I think the headroom to grow in packaged food anyway exists, and of course we got an upward thrust. So you're absolutely right. You can actually see mathematically that the quarters, that you saw the COVID wave is when you saw the maximum penetration gain. So you're absolutely right, and it's not plateaued to that. It's not gone back to the low level. It's plateaued to a high. So that definitely gave us an upthrust,
Yeah.
and that trend or that proclivity to wellness continues, which
Yeah.
is helping us.
Yeah, also, Deepika, direct to consumer has seen an exponential growth in the past couple of months, couple of years actually. What is TCPL's strategy over there?
I think we continue to stay invested. We continue to try and find the right business model. I think we are clear that we are not going to, we're going to be cautious about the unit economics working. So I would say that we are excited, we want to get it right, but we're not going to bleed. So we definitely want to focus on ensuring that the unit economics of it works. So we are actually trying multiple experiments. The brand site NutriCorner, we've launched Simply Better has a D2C, Sonnets has D2C. So we're trying across our brands. So it's just about getting the model right, which is what we're focused on.
Perfect. All the best for that. Thank you so much. Thanks for speaking to us today.
My pleasure. Always good to see you.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.
Listen, thanks to